Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome. Our apologies for the delay and tardiness this evening. I'd like to
This meeting is being recorded and summarized.
call the Homestead City Council presentation ceremony to order. Today is Wednesday, June 18th, and it is what, about 6 o'clock? 5:55. So I'd like council to join me down at the podium for a presentation regarding National Public Works Week.
Enterprise Permitting and Licensing Solution authorizing use.
Once again, it's that time of year where we recognize those who focus on our infrastructure, keep the water running, keep the lights on, keep the toilets flushing, all of those everyday things that we many times take for granted. So in honor of National Public Works Week, whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, and most importantly to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Homestead. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services cannot be provided without the dedicated efforts of all of our public service professionals, both in the office and the men and women out on the street, working in the rain, the heat, the cold, and everything in between, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Whereas 2025 marks the 65th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association. And this year's theme, People, Purpose, Presence, highlights the three cornerstone ideals that motivate public works professionals to serve their communities every day. Meeting the needs of people is what gives public works its sense of purpose. Many times, most of the time, they will never meet those whose lives have been impacted, because when things are not going right, no one knows that public works is there. And without fanfare, our public works people are ever present, working in the background to advance the quality of life for all. Now, therefore, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Homestead, I do hereby proclaim May 18th through 24th, 2025 as National Public Works Week in Homestead. And our Public Works Director, Assistant Director, where are we? There he is. Come on down and accept this a little belated, but better late than never, proclamation on behalf of the council. So that concludes the presentation ceremony for this evening, and as soon as the clerk signals that we are ready to begin the regular council meeting, we will convene. Ready? One second. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I'd like to call the City of Homestead regular City Council meeting to order. Today is Wednesday, June 18th, 2025, and it is now 6:02 p.m. This evening, the invocation will be given by Councilman Tom Davis, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance with Councilman Davis and the Homestead Police Explorers. Will you please rise?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor Guard, if you stay in place while Councilman Davis offers the invocation.
Almighty God, we once again thank you from our hearts for who you are. Fill our hearts tonight with understanding of your truth and have us display vision, drive, and humility as we conduct Homestead City Council matters here tonight. Finally, we pray for your grace, mercy, and peace to rest on each of us tonight. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Order on. Left face. Forward, march. Left, 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 right. Left, 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 right.
Thank you again, Councilman Davis, and Honor Guard, please be seated. Madam Clerk, let's have a roll call.
Councilwoman Avila.
Here.
Councilman Ross. Councilman Davis.
Here.
Councilwoman Bailey. Councilman Cannibal. Vice Mayor Fletcher.
Here.
Mayor Lossman.
Here. Thank you. We have a quorum. All right, this is the portion of our agenda where we allow up to 3 minutes per person of public comment. I'll first call upon those who have pre-registered, and then those who are present here in the room, followed by anyone online. The first individual who has registered to speak is Jonathan Osborne. Mr. Osborne, are you here? Please come forward and give us your name and address for the record, and got 3 minutes. Good evening, welcome.
Jonathan Osmond, address 1478 Northwest 2nd Ave, Florida City. So I'm here on behalf of the community. As everybody knows, I do Instagram. I've been very big with the immigration community, ICE and stuff like that, notifying the community of where they're at, notifying them that Homestead PD is not cooperating. Well, not that they're not cooperating, that they're not working with ICE right now. That's a concern that the community has. There's a big concern that has been posted on one of my posts. I had a little tiny protest this weekend. As you see, it was small because of Miami-Dade. But there was a comment made by Jeff Losner that was very disrespectful, even though it's words, but the community and Spanish community have reached out to me, True Homestead, that they want an apology. Whether or not it comes from the council, or the police, or him himself, they're gonna keep doing what they're gonna do, and it's just gonna get worse. They want protests every week, they want protests every day. I'm trying to stop that. I don't have time to do this every day. You know, I don't have time for the chief to bring out this mobile command unit every day. You know what I mean? But I'm here for the community, and if the community doesn't want to back me up, I'm going to go forward and keep protesting. It's going to get bigger. I got a lot of organizations right now reaching out to me. One is sitting with me today. I got Tampa. I got people from LA, DC, New York contacting me today. And they're all this week, and they will be down here, and we can be at all these meetings, and we'll be at City Hall every day until we get an answer. You know, and an apology from Mr. Jeff Losner. I know what goes on with the Losner family. I have intel from a lot of people that know what goes on here, the farmers and this and that. I can stop a lot of businesses from serving a lot of people. I have power here. And that's all I want to say to the council, that just bring awareness to the community, especially the Spanish community right here. Some of you might be Spanish, some of you might not be, but it affects all of us, and I'm white as can be. Okay? I got to go to Walmart and spend $15 on oranges because of this garbage that's going on. You know what I mean?
Let me clarify one comment, one of your early comments, that there was concern or a perception that our department is cooperating with ICE.
That's the rumors going around, and I've been trying to let the community know on Facebook, Instagram, they're not working with them. It's the county and state that are working with ICE. I keep telling them, I know the police here are not working with them, but the community doesn't believe that. You know what I mean? I'm out here every day. I'm out here every day, every night. I don't sleep because I help out the community. You know what I mean? Instagram has become my job. You know, I don't disrespect nobody, and I wish not to be disrespected by anybody either. Like I said, the community needs to know that ICE is not working with Homestead PD, which I've already established that. But I'm only one person, you know? So it's up to council and even Mr. Knapp, who can go on social media and say, listen, for the concerns of the people, we have yet to work with ICE. I'm getting videos today that they're pulling over people, and it's Homestead. You know what I mean? It's Homestead setting up on Campbell Drive at the bank over there today. For their things, their personal things, not with ICE. I know that. You know what I mean? And I'm telling people, stop. It's not true. I saw ICE today. They ran into a lady. They wanted her locked up. It was his fault. You know? I know where ICE is at all times here. You know what I mean? I got too many eyes out here. And the comment of your brother, I know it doesn't fall on you per se, but you're his brother. You're part of the council. You represent Homestead. You're a big name here. And you know I got a lot of respect for you. You know, I didn't come here to start trouble and, you know, be a pest to you, but the city wants an apology for that, you know? So that's it.
All right, so while we've got you here, and I know you're good at pulling clips from council meetings, I'll preface this request to the chief by saying I know that the chief has personally met on numerous occasions with several immigrant advocacy groups regarding what the city is or is not more appropriately doing. And I would, through the manager, ask the chief to very quickly confirm what the role of our department has not been with respect to these ICE matters.
Mr. Chief, you can respond to me, Mayor.
Yes, good evening, Mayor and Council. Yeah, I've met with the Spanish community 3 times, and all 3 of those meetings were called by me. And we've explained to the community what our status is. We've explained that thus far we have not even been trained by ICE. Therefore, we haven't done any ICE operations. But we do have an agreement with ICE like we have with many other federal agencies.
All right, thank you. Appreciate that. That's as simple and straightforward as it gets. All right, do we have anyone here in the chambers who wishes to make a public comment? Anyone here in the chambers wishing to make a comment? All right, is there anyone online? No, there's no one online. So we will now close the public comment section of this agenda. Mr. Manager, are there any additions, deletions, or deferrals tonight?
Mr. Mayor and Council, there are no additions or deferrals.
Thank you. All right, we have before us item 5, which are tabs 1A through 1B, 1C, and tab 2. Need a motion to approve the consent agenda. Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilman Conaball. Are there any further questions or comments with respect to the consent agenda? None appearing. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Mr. Pearl.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We have one quasi-judicial item. I'll just read the statement into the record. Please be advised that the following items on the agenda are quasi-judicial in nature. If you wish to comment upon any of these items, please indicate the item number you would like to address when the announcement regarding the quasi-judicial item is made. An opportunity for persons to speak on each item will be made available after the applicant and staff have made their presentations on each item. All testimony, including public testimony and evidence, will be made under oath or affirmation. Additionally, each person who gives testimony may be subject to cross-examination. If you do not wish to be either cross-examined or sworn, your testimony will be given its due weight. The general public will not be permitted to cross-examine witnesses, but the public may request the council ask questions of staff or witnesses on their behalf. The full agenda packet on each item is hereby entered into the record. Persons representing organizations must present evidence of their authority to speak for the organization. Further details of the quasi-judicial procedures may be obtained from the city clerk. At this time, council members must disclose any ex parte communications concerning any items on the agenda.
Any disclosure with respect to this final plat matter? None. Is there none?
No? Okay, at this time, the clerk will swear in any persons who wish to testify on any quasi-judicial item.
Please stand and raise your right hand and repeat after me. Do you hereby swear or affirm to tell the truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God? Thank you. You may be seated.
Okay, tab 3 is a resolution of the City of Homestead, Florida, granting final plat approval as requested by Homestead Midtown Holdings, LLC, for the development of a horizontal mixed-use project consisting of approximately 30,018 square feet of commercial retail and neighborhood-serving uses and 354 multifamily residential dwelling units on an approximately 20-acre parcel of land generally located along the south side of Southwest 312th Street, Campbell Drive, between Southwest 152nd Avenue and Southwest 147th Avenue, as legally described in Exhibit A, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Are there any objections to waiving the staff report with respect to this item? All right, are there any further questions from council? May I open a public hearing? Anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and just make note that this is simply a final plat approval for an item that came before us in excess of a year ago. For approval for a mixed-use project. Anyone, would the applicant like to add anything to the conversation tonight? And we will note that the applicant is represented. This item is moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilman Conaball. There are no final comments. Let's have a roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilman Davis? Yes. Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes,
The motion carries.
thank you. Moving on to first reading with respect to tab 4, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 4 is the first reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Section 17-26 of the City Code entitled Shopping Cart Control Plan by adding definitions, providing for methods of compliance and enforcement against violations, exemptions, authorizing the city to remove, store, and dispose of shopping carts, and requiring shopping carts to display ownership information, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Very good, thank you. And in light of the fact that everyone in the public sees abandoned shopping carts, let's have a staff report to inform the public on this item.
So, Mr. Mayor and Council, I would like to ask Assistant City Manager Crystal Oliveira to provide some background information on this very important piece of legislation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. As you're aware, that shopping carts are proliferated throughout the city, and the city bears the burden for removal on the right-of-way. So what this ordinance addresses is the properties that the shopping carts are located, meaning the shopping centers. The owners of the property will be responsible to enact a retention program. So the retention is in several different methods. You can have the electronic wheel locking program, you can have the ones with the arm on the shopping cart, or you can have an employee just bring the cart out to the customer's car and retrieve it. The difference between the ordinance that we have now and the changes is there will be a code process. So the code process will be involved if carts are found throughout the city. That gives cause for a code inspector to go and visit the location and see if they are in compliance and what's going on. It also requires that the carts are marked so we can see which store it's exactly coming from. There were two things that came up that we do have a recommendation and we're seeking further direction, is the 6-month period for existing stores to come into compliance. That's the first consideration. And second, in the ordinance, in the proposed ordinance, it has 5,000 square foot with 10 shopping carts is the minimum requirement. So it would have to have both. So those are the two items before second reading, meaning tonight, we would like direction on.
Very good, thank you. Council? Councilman Davis, and then Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. My apologies that this didn't come to mind when I had my briefing. So you have a shopping cart from a well-known retail store, some type of, say, grocery store, right? How do you know that that shopping cart is from our local store as opposed to it's been walking up and down the busway, for weeks and weeks and just kind of ended up here? I just want to make sure that we're not putting an unfair burden on our stores. How do you know that a Winn-Dixie cart belongs to the Winn-Dixie on Kingside?
So the part of the marking of the cart would be not only the name, but the contact information for that particular store. So if we were to find one of a brand store that's in Homestead and outside of Homestead, you would then, as a follow-up, go to the store to make sure that the carts at that store are clearly marked. So that would be an indicator that this came from another store of this chain that's not inside the city limits.
And my second, okay, so you find that random Winn-Dixie cart and then you go to Winn-Dixie here and say, are you in compliance? And then they can show you compliance or not, correct?
Yes.
What do you do when we, for example, have homeless folks that are pushing a cart about? What is the enforcement level with that?
So the ordinance is to address the abandoned shopping carts on the side of the road. It's not to address the unhomed or unhoused population and them moving. We're not going to be taking them from anyone's possession.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, my briefings are always right before the meeting, so all the shopping cart discussion is still nice and fresh, and that came up also. But my only suggestion, I don't have an issue with the 6 month, but as far as the 10 shopping carts or more and 5,000 square feet, I don't see the need to specify how much square footage the shop should have. I think if we stick to a certain amount of carts, I think that that's going to help us reach that goal without having to do either this and or that, if that makes sense.
Well, I guess in that regard, the real question is what was the thought process to draw that line in the sand at 5,000 square feet? Was it perhaps a financial burden on smaller stores that this would create?
smaller stores tend to keep better track of the carts. If there's an argument to be made on both sides. So if we go for the small business as in size, logically you would think that they wouldn't be able to house 10 carts on their property. Or they would be more dutiful in retrieving those carts because they're more valuable to them than a larger chain that has, 1 out of 10,000 carts isn't, Or the other part is the enforcement angle that I want you to consider. The 10 cart limit, you can either go by size, we have it currently listed as both. You can go by the size of the store or the amount of carts. Now, process-wise, would you leave it up to the code inspector to go and count the number of carts and make sure that they're under the 10 limit? So those are the two, that's why we're looking for direction on what is the most desirable. Either go by the size of the store or the cart, the amount of carts. Both, there's pros and cons, and there is no fine line in any municipality that has this. It is totally your discretion.
I think that once we roll the program out, I think then we might be able to see, for me, even if they have 2 shopping carts, one of them shouldn't end up in the road somewhere. So maybe we see that there should just strictly be a rule on any store that has shopping carts. No matter how many they have or what their square footage is, the whole goal is to not have their shopping carts out in the streets. Yeah, it's definitely going to be one of those where there's a lot of things to consider and something that we completely
Thank you.
missed. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor?
Yes, thank you. So I don't disagree with what the Councilwoman's saying. I think we're going to set a baseline here for 6 months, give them the opportunity to put their numbers in place. And I think we get away from the square footage and just,
More than 10 carts.
More than 10 carts. And then what do we do? Again, I didn't have the opportunity to speak with you specifically on this item. With the carts that we do locate, we typically impound them and take them to some location. And what do we require the owners of the carts to then do? Do they pay a fine to pick them up? Do we throw them away?
We're not allowed
We're
to.
preempted.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes. We are preempted by state statute and fining per cart. So we can't fine them per cart. Realistically, what would they end up being is garbage, right? If you don't pick it up, we recycle the ones with metal that we can, and then the plastic carts end up in the landfill. So we're also trying to mitigate that, less carts going to the landfill.
I believe by statute, we are obligated to notify
Notification,
the
yes.
store and secure and safeguard them for a period of time.
If they don't
Really,
show up in that time
Under
period,
states,
though,
and after that time period passes, they go to the landfill or the recycle bin.
we should maybe look at
At our
selling them.
expense.
No, we should put them on our auction site and sell them as bulk auction items. Somebody would buy them, I bet you. Be better than put them in a landfill, is all. Something to think about. My 2 cents. It's worth that. Thanks.
Councilman Roth?
Yeah, just real quick. Just out of curiosity, we can go outside of the city and cite businesses for shopping carts coming into our city?
This can only apply to the properties, not the carts. The code violation would apply to the property within the city.
Inside the city, so
So
like
if it
Home
was
Depot?
outside the city boundaries, let's say another location that's adjacent to the city that we find them, yes, we're still
can't regulate Home
responsible for
Depot.
street cleaning, street maintenance, and all of that other things that goes along with it.
That would also,
We would strongly encourage our neighbors to adopt the same ordinances.
right, and that would also apply to the Winn-Dixie, because that's
right.
outside
It's
of the
outside.
city.
Yes, it's just outside of our jurisdiction, and we would have to pick it up and go about our normal process.
It is what it is.
And look, there is a cost to businesses to comply with these 3 choices for compliance. I get, the square footage doesn't unduly burden smaller businesses.
Right.
But I would think that also, a store having less than 10,000 square feet, 5,000 square feet, probably not room for 10 carts running around the aisles at the same time anyway. It may be, that's thinking out loud, may be a better fix just to remove the square footage
Okay.
and tie it to the number of carts. I mean, enforcement's a little more difficult then though, because you're going in, the flip side of that is it's easy to figure out how big a building is versus where are all the carts. So how do we split this baby? Councilwoman?
Thank you, Mayor. So another thing that came up in the discussion then was, obviously, they're not going to be checking each store to see where the issues are. It's a matter of which carts they're finding out in the street. So if this is something that we can just look at for 6 months and see which carts you're finding, I think the more open we leave it now, that just gives us more opportunity to fine-tune it later.
I kind of had that thought. Let's just go forward as is with those two bases of requirements and kind of keep tabs as to where the carts are coming from after the grace period has ended. So we're not going to know until, let's say, 6 months from final adoption. It's going to be after the first of the year before everyone has to be in compliance. So it'll be the first quarter of next year before we really have, a tabulation as to what the problem businesses are. If we just leave, well, either way, with that grace period to comply. So maybe we just leave it as is and see if we can identify those. If it is the smaller stores, if the smaller stores are truly overrepresented, leave it as is and see what tweaking we need to do later.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mr.
Council,
Manager?
I think this is Eric. I think the main impetus of this legislation is to address shopping carts. It's not about square footage of the outlets.
Right.
So if you focus on addressing shopping carts in public streets, wherever they come from, the only difference of opinion would be when and where do you draw the line for enforcement purposes. So if it's stores and outlets that have more than 10 shopping carts, then it can initiate code compliance. If it's small businesses with less than shopping carts, you simply take them and dispose it off, so that relieves the economic burden on small businesses. Don't put them through code compliance.
Right. So it seems then that the suggestion may be that the 10-cart line in the sand may be the better alternative? Okay. Are we all good with just removing the square footage and drawing a line in the sand at 10? Code enforcement will have to deal with the counting of the carts.
So that was the first question. Thank you. So we're going to remove the square footage and just only have over 10 carts.
Over 10.
6 months for existing businesses to come into compliance. Yes. That's yes. Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
So between the second reading and 6 months, there will be a lot of public education and outreach to get people used to the fact that something is already in the books. After 6 months, the penalty kicks in. So I think that 6 months is a sufficient time for people to come into compliance.
And the big box stores may need that amount of time to affix the locking mechanisms,
Right.
if
They
that's the
would
method
have
they
to have
choose.
one of the methods, one of the approved methods that are listed, as well as their carts marked.
So
I just want to be clear.
between first and second reading, let's figure out whether if a store outlet desires to buy back the shopping cart, it doesn't make sense to go throw it in a landfill or recycle it. If they want to buy back, we can set up a kind of cost that we incurred in retrieving the carts and have them buy it back from the city. So that will be part of revenue recouping for solid waste. If you spend
Absolutely, we'll take
$50 to pick up the cart and they want it back, you pay us back and you get it back. So I think that's a good way to resolve this.
So do we have a motion to approve this subject to just the delineation of in excess of the 10 carts?
Move it.
And with the 6-month Grace
The
period for
6-month
existing businesses.
grace period, compliance period, yes.
And if we can.
Correct. And I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I wanted to thank administration for bringing these recommendations. These have been issues that I'm sure all of us have brought to administration's concerns over many years now. And I think although there are obvious challenges on enforcement and how do we fine-tune the legislation to make it make sense, it's still action in the right direction. And so I want to just make that that comment and that praise for administration. And that was my motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little note to staff. I know you guys have been doing a great job at getting the word out of when certain items are coming up in the meetings. Since this is looking like it is going to pass now at second reading, that we could start right away just reaching out and saying that next month's meeting, this is coming up for second hearing, just so we can make sure we hear from anybody and that they've got that additional month to just prepare and let it sink in. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second by Councilman Davis. Any final comments from council? So let me open the public hearing. Any public comment with respect to this matter? Is there anyone online? All right, we'll close the public hearing and ask for a roll call vote.
Councilman Ross? Yes. Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
And moving right along to tab 5, which is a second reading. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, providing for imposition of a 6-month extension to the 12-month temporary moratorium on the issuance of development orders and permits concerning development applications, city code text amendments, rezonings, comprehensive plan text, and land use plan amendments for development of townhome, cluster home, and multifamily residential dwelling units within the city, proposed residential development on lots of less than 5,000 square feet within the city, and any proposed residential development over 6 dwelling units per acre within the city, and further permitting the processing of development applications, city code text amendments, rezonings, comprehensive plan text, and land use plan amendments for development of townhome, cluster home, and multifamily residential dwelling units within the city, proposed residential development on lots of not less than 5,000 square feet within the city, and any proposed residential development of over 6 dwelling units per acre within the city, all subject to the filing and execution of a waiver concerning any and all timeframes associated with the processing and review of such applications by the city, exempting specified development, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Manager, if we could have our Development Services Director give us the highlights of what the changes were from first to second reading, just to recap those changes that we asked to be incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So as you was requesting during the highlights from the thing, you requested that we allow for lots that are less than 7,500 square feet, but greater than 5,000 square feet to be able to allow to go through the review process. We also requested that we incorporated in this ordinance that we allow for applications to be submitted to staff for review and go through the review process, but they would not be able to be approved before this moratorium was completed. And these was the changes that we requested, and they were implemented into the ordinance per your direction.
Also, a third prong that dealt with Mr. Proctor's client, was that?
So what Mr. Proctor's client was, he was asking that he be able to submit his application for review and go through the review process while we are still in the moratorium. So that addresses
That's
his
encompassed
concern.
in kind of the
Yes.
second prong of the
Yes.
change we made. And again, just to clarify, the approval for 5,000 to 7,500 is with respect to lots that now exist, not the creation of a new lot.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good. Any questions from council? Okay. Is there anyone wishing to speak on this matter? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve. Moved by Councilman Cannonball. Do you have a second? Second by Councilman Davis.
So, Mayor and Council, just point of information. The Florida legislature passed Senate Bill 180 on leave local modification that would prohibit local governments from passing this type of ordinance. That legislation was passed, is sitting on the governor's desk. Yesterday was the last day of session in Tallahassee. As of today, the governor had not signed that bill. Just point of information. If that bill is ever signed, approving it to come into effect immediately, it means that this legislation would have to come back and sunset it.
Well, and that's with respect, I think, Mr. Pearl, to the entire moratorium is void ab initio if this bill is signed. Well, there are two bills. There's the Live Local amendment and Live Local would let it play out.
SB 180 is
But
the
180 would, upon execution by the governor or failure to execute and pass, in the absence of his signature, all of our safeguards are done. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Let's have a roll call.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Ron? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Cannonball? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Next item, tab 6, resolution, car number 4621, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 6 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, approving the renaming and rebranding of the Homestead Energy Lend-A-Hand Program to the Homestead Customer Assistance for Reliable Essential Services, authorizing the city's Community Development and Human Services Division to assume full administration of the program, providing for implementation and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Is there any objection to waiving the staff report on this item? It's rebranding and a tweaking of a longstanding electrical utility assistance program that we'll bring back in-house. All right, is that a motion? Moved by Councilman Roth, seconded by Councilman Cannonball. Any final questions or comments from council? All right, is there anyone who would like to speak on this matter? I'll now open public comments. No one online? We'll close the public hearing and let's have a roll call vote.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Ron? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
The motion carries.
Moving on to tab 7, Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, tab 7 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Homestead, Florida, awarding RFQ number 2025-02 Architectural and Engineering Services for Whitcott Park Water Treatment Facility Project to H2M Architects and Engineers, Inc., authorizing the city manager to negotiate and enter into an agreement for the project, providing for implementation, providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Any objections to waiving the staff report? Are there any questions or comments from council? So let me open a public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this matter? Is there anyone online? So we'll now close the public hearing and have a roll call on this item. Moved by Councilman Roth, second by Vice Mayor Fletcher. Thank you.
Councilman Roth? Yes. Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Cannonball? Yes. Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losner?
Yes.
Motion carried.
And moving on to a second reading of tab 8 with respect to an ordinance regulating expanded recreational vehicles. Mr. Pearl.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this is the second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending Chapter 30 zoning of the City Code of Ordinances to create a presumption of a violation if a portion of a recreational vehicle is expanded while parked on residential property, providing for a definition of expanded, providing for conflicts, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Are there any questions or comments from council on this second reading? I don't believe there were any tweaks from first to second. Let me open this for public comment, open the public hearing. Is there anyone online? Okay, I'll close the public hearing. Do we have a motion to approve? Moved by Councilman Davis, second by Councilman Cannonball. Let's have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth? Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Councilman Carnaval? Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Yes.
Mayor Losman?
Yes, go
Motion
forth
carried.
and write citations. All right. Moving on to tab 9, car number 4636. Mr. Pearl?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is also a second reading of an ordinance of the City of Homestead, Florida, amending sections 16-20 application and 16-23 term and expiration of receipt of the city code, providing for the issuance of a business tax receipt under certain circumstances, providing for inclusion in the code, providing for severability, providing for conflicts, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. And in short, this is a second reading of what I think we term a cleanup item. It was a catch-22, the chicken and the egg argument on resolving code violations and receiving rulings on fines to be paid. This is a glitch bill, if you will. So let me open the public hearing. Is there anyone here wishing to speak on this matter, either in person or online? None appearing, I'll close the public hearing and ask for a motion to approve tab 9. Moved by Councilwoman Bailey, second by Councilman Davis. Let's have a roll call, please.
Councilwoman Avila?
Yes.
Councilman Roth?
Yes.
Councilwoman Bailey? Councilman Carnaval?
Yes.
Councilman Fletcher?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Fletcher?
Twice. 2 times. I get both.
Him too.
Yes.
And Mayor Losman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, thank you. Mr. Manager?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. So the administration wishes to launch a series of conversations with the community. It's going to start off on the June 25th at William Dickinson Community Center at 6 o'clock. The essence of the platform is to allow city residents, businesses, and visitors to have a one-on-one conversation with various city department staff on issues of common interest or share concerns so that we can have a platform to engage with them in an open, transparent manner. Thereafter, we will hope to do this on a quarterly basis. It's simply a workshop. All city departments will be on site, and the public are welcome to come in and ask questions and maybe get answers to some of their challenges. It's going to start on June 25th at the Dickinson Community Center. It's going to be named Conversations with the Community. Council is welcome to attend. We will sunshine the notices to make sure everybody's aware. We are almost getting to the stage to host the 4th of July Race to the 4th event, which is a special event at the Speedway, One Ralph Sanchez Speedway Boulevard, 4th of July. It's going to be hosted by City through the assistance of a consultant that's putting together a more involved, comprehensive program. Hopefully, council members will be available to participate. It's a prelude to the next year's big rodeo that we're going to be launching at that same location. Tomorrow, the city will be closed in observance of Juneteenth. It's a national public holidays, so all city offices will be closed tomorrow. The city also had a great opportunity for members of the community to showcase their talents on June 14th. It was held at the Miami-Dade College. It was a great show with a lot of people's interest and attendance. Just as a point of reminder, July 8th will be the final presentation of the city's first strategic plan. It will be a sunshine meeting. I urge and encourage all council members to participate. Based on the schedule we have, after the workshop, we will be coming back to council on July 16th for the formal adoption by this body. So I encourage council members who will share the copy of the strategic plan report prior to that date so that council members can get more familiar. June 24th, we are having a tabletop exercise, which is simply a hurricane preparedness reminder and refresher for those who need additional information and resources and addresses of where to reach out to for preparation and getting used to what they need to do to be able to go through this hurricane season. Our 2025 summer internship program kicked off yesterday successfully. I believe we have about 11 or 12 participants spread all over city departments. These are the paired summer internship program that council approved. It's all within city departments. This week is National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. National Mosquito Control Awareness Week. If anyone needs any kind of mosquito control to be done either in their HOA or private residence, you can simply call 311, and the County Mosquito Control Center will be able to respond and come to your premises or property and spray it for mosquito control. We are having a couple of community outreach events to be hosted in the city. The first is from the Miami-Dade County Property Appraisal, Mr. Thomas Regalado. He has graciously agreed to come down to Homestead on July 22nd at the Dickinson Community Center at 5 o'clock to address any concerns from any city resident or businesses that have properties that have issues with the county. Instead of folks driving up to downtown Miami, they will be coming down here with their staff to respond to our needs. And also today we received notification from the Miami-Dade County Supervisor of Elections that she would like to also host a community outreach event here in Homestead. The point is we want to bring services down here than having our folks go up there to meet with them. So we hope to do this on a rolling schedule. So folks can be aware when they are coming, so get prepared and have their needs addressed from time to time. So that's all I have for now, Mayor and the Council, and thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Not to put you on the spot, if you can recall off the top of your head what budget allocations are in the budget for the city at the state level?
Yes,
And
I
now,
was waiting.
Doesn't mean they're not going to be vetoed, but they're in the budget.
So as of this afternoon, we received word, subject to governor's concurrence and no line item veto, that the city of Homestead will be receiving $625,000 for capacity upgrade of all the water main undersized and aged mains. The state is giving us $625,000 to start off on a phased implementation program. Phase one, there are usually properties on the west side of the city. I know that's Councilwoman Jennifer Bailey's area. So we'll start up with phase one in that area. I believe also Councilman Davis' district as well. The state also approved, the legislature also approved another $1 million for the Chrome Avenue water main capacity upsizing. So Chrome Avenue is receiving $1 million. And also the state approved, the legislature approved another $575,000 for the expansion of the Southwest 152nd Avenue Bridge. I think it's in, if I'm not mistaken, it's Councilman Ross' district or the Vice Mayor's district. I don't know. It's within the city of Homestead. So $575,000 for the bridge expansion. Those are the three items out of the legislative priorities that we submitted that was approved. So we're praying that the governor will not veto these line items. So in total, we'll be receiving approximately $2.2 million instead of allocation.
I think they found structural.
I want to use this opportunity to appreciate and thank all the lobbyists that worked on these legislative priorities. Becca Poliakov, the Southern Group, and I believe Jose Diaz.
Correct.
Those three lobbyist consultants worked together to get us this $2.2 million. Thanks.
And maybe in July at one of our meetings, we could have our representatives Chambliss and Mooney together with our senator, Ana Maria Rodriguez, to kind of give us a legislative update. I'd love to hear some of the backstory on how some of this legislation that impacts our self-governance came to be.
Yeah, I hope to, as soon as I get the final report from the lobbyist consultants, I'm going to be sharing with council members. because some of the legislators that the mayor mentioned personally championed some of these initiatives as their personal items on the agenda, especially Senator Ana Maria Rodriguez, State Rep Chambliss, and Mooney.
Juan
Yes,
Porras
Juan
was
Porras
very
was also,
instrumental,
he
yes.
championed one of the items. We had a host of items on the agenda, and only these three made it to the finish line. Thanks.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Attorney, you don't need any new sessions? You're good. Councilman Davis.
Thank you. A couple of items. I was very fortunate to be at the American Legion on 14 June, where they had a flag retirement ceremony. And that's a very important thing. We don't do it as much as many years ago, but we had the Boy Scouts there. We properly retired them. And it was good to see the American Legion as a service organization stepping forward and doing that. My second point, so often you don't hear me saying a peep, but I got a couple this time. My kudos to Homestead Electric. Last Monday, there was a significant electrical explosion, which is like really cool in a violent way. But it was right outside my door. And boy, within moments, the police were there. No one knew exactly what was going on. Shutting down the street, power showed up. Within a few minutes, they assessed it, got the parts, got it up within about 90 minutes. So, I mean, that was a really, really solid response, and thank you very much for that. For those of you that have not been giving a letter writing to get this Homestead VA hospital, you're going to be getting one shortly. We met with Special Operations Command South. They're all in. We also have a couple of folks from Homestead that are going to be meeting with our workers. Just, if you're willing to sign the letter writing as a person concerned for veterans, we encourage you to do so. There's no requirement. But you know what? There's a real need in our community, and I thank everyone who's already signed up. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Avila, would you like to make any final comments?
Thank you, Mayor. Just greetings from the beautiful state of Oklahoma. I wish I could be with you in person, but I am enjoying a little bit of family time here with my husband and children. Hope everyone had a wonderful Father's Day weekend. And thank you to Mayor and Council for your support at the Kiwanis Dolphin Days Family Fishing Tournament. It was a success, and celebrating 40 years of community service through that tournament. And thank you, staff, and thank you to our city manager for the good news on the allocations. We do hope they come through. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. See you soon. Councilwoman Bailey?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple quick things. Yes, City Manager, I'm very well aware that this is National Mosquito Month. Very, very well aware. They are something else. It's really bad at my school. It is dangerous for some of our little ones and our elderly. So if you have a chance to call 311 and get the county to pitch in and spray wherever we can, that would be wonderful. And my last thing is, speaking of outside and incredible heat, the only thing that has gotten me out of the house very happily is to see the progress on the murals in Losner Park. If you haven't been out there to see these two amazing artists and the masterpieces that they are creating for us, just a big thank you to Council again for getting that done, and go check it out because it's pretty neat. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Cannibal? See, she takes all the wind out of your sails. Councilman Roth? Vice Mayor?
Yes, just a public service announcement again. I believe the city manager is listening to our conversations in the lunchroom about the National Mosquito Month control. We happened to be talking about that earlier. So again, dial 311 and notify they are worse than they have been for years. Also, again, a belated Happy Father's Day to all you out there. And let's have a safe and happy June. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And not to beat a dead horse, but it's just a reminder that extra effort into suppressing the mosquitoes for our 4th of July event. We've been very lucky the last 5 years It's been, you know, between the breeze and our proactiveness, it's not been bad at all. Beyond that, I want to announce that I learned earlier today that last night a 90-plus year native resident, a former city council member, and really community activist, was the father-in-law of one of our police officers, passed away last night. Don't have any details on any services, but you know, the proverbial almost ending of another era. Someone who you know, a native at age 90 plus is quite an accomplishment. Bobby Shiver, he was a special master here. He was on code enforcement board. Probably in the late 70s, he served on council, probably only for a couple of years. Retired Southern Bell before we said AT&T or Bell South. So it's a real loss for the community. Beyond that, there's nothing further. Do we have a motion to adjourn? So moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. Thank you all for being here tonight.